Hello, everybody watching at home. We are live. I'm Naomi, here to talk to you about the best Survivor charity game on YouTube, Live to Give, Fans vs. Favorites versus Famous. I am so excited because this is an all-star panel of some raw goddesses of an amazing season of Live to Give. First of all, her third appearance on the podcast. It's like we're hanging out every week at this point. Janaki, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for, inviting me back.
Thank you for being here each and every time. I'm so glad to have you here once more, except for under different and more upsetting circumstances. We also have Miss Megan. Megan, how are you doing? And I assume you're not a dog still?
Not a dog.
I'm
not a dog. No, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to see all your faces. It really makes me smile.
We are excited to have you as well. Again, I know that this podcast is going to be amazing. Like, I can already tell. And joining us, we have Elaine, the one who fell on her sword for the rest of her tribe, but more importantly, kicked ass this whole game. Elaine, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've actually been sick for a week, so I'm actually feeling a whole lot better than I did a couple days ago. Thought I was dying, but I didn't die. I'm here. So,
but you're still here. And
exactly.
With us, less important than these three, but I guess he's still important to the franchise as a whole. It's Alex Wagner. Alex, what is up?
Oh, just living the dream as usual. Excited to talk with the best panel I think we've had so far. No offense to the other panels, they're gonna probably kill me for that.
We got throwing shots fired.
I am throwing.
Group chat's gonna explode in a second.
Shots fired.
Hi, Cam. Cam's 4 gorgeous souls and Alex Wagner.
Yep, Cam, I stand by my comment.
Well, we're here to talk about the most recent Live to Give episode, an episode where the group split into 3 different tribes of 5, and they all go to tribal council. One of the most dramatic episodes I've ever seen. And to start this off, guys, I have to ask each and every one of you, did you expect this new tribe swap coming? You were at 15. You're surprised with a jury feast. Did you expect that you were going to go back into new tribes, Janaki?
I did not. I thought that once we hit that jury feast, that we were kind of in that merge situation. So I didn't know that we were going to spread up once again.
Yeah. I lost all my people, it seemed like. And I still had Lance. Lance was on my tribe. But like Janky was gone. Like it was like me and Elder were together, so that was good. But I was like, where'd all my people go? Like, this is terrible. But then I got put with a bunch of people I liked, and I thought, well, this is even freaking worse than it was before. Yeah, I didn't like it. Listen, this game is nuts. I told y'all out there, the people that would listen to me when I was talking, it was like way worse than Survivor. It really is. It's way worse than Survivor. You heard it here first, just so y'all know.
We're gonna dig into that in just a second. Megan, did you expect that we were gonna swap into 3 tribes of 5?
So that was a really eye-opening thing for me watching this back, listening to people's confessionals saying things like, well, we were thinking there might be Exile Island, or we're thinking there might be like 5 by 5, and I was thinking, holy cow, like these people they know how to play, because I was literally like, what's happening in the next 5 minutes?
Yeah, that's me.
And I started the game. I mean, I just couldn't even think like what was happening next, because like listening to Carter and people say, I'm excited to start playing just made me feel exhausted watching that episode, because I didn't have time to think about what was next, because for me it was just like, can I make it through the next,
No, it's called Rapid Fire Survivor is what it's called. Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about anything at all other than just like, stay alive, Megan, stay alive.
Yeah. So, Alex, I want to ask you, where did the idea of the jury feast come from? Because I remember you told me about this twist, and I loved it, because I'm a big proponent of, you should try and have everybody in the jury meet everybody in the game, and you have such amazing fundraisers for Live to Give, so that just doesn't happen all the time. But this is a genius idea, I thought. Where did it come from?
To be honest, I have like a very strange brain, and I'll be sitting at work one day, or like
we know that, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have probably found that out, but I'll be like all of a sudden in the middle of sleep, and I'll wake up in the middle of the night and just have an idea, and I'll write it down on my notes app on my phone, and then go back to it and think of stuff. But when I pitched it to Brandon, he liked it. The main reason we wanted to have like the jury start earlier, because we didn't like before this part of the game, if you watch back at like some of the confessionals that weren't aired, a lot of the contestants were like, yeah, we think the jury is going to start at like 13 or 12. And that's always expected. But this is our biggest cast we've ever had. So we wanted to also accommodate for that. And with COVID and everything going on, we wanted to give people the experience of being on the jury. So yeah, we decided to start it earlier. And I think the three of them, I don't know for sure, but I want to say they might be lying a little bit about not expecting the tribes, because when we revealed the jury, what they didn't show on the episode is when the jury feast was announced, everybody's like, wait, he didn't say merge. And they all started talking right away about how there was like, he didn't say merge. Did he say merge? No, there was no merge said. So then they were like all going over the place like, well, what does that exactly mean? But they might not be fully telling the truth.
You're giving me personally too much credit, because all I was thinking is somebody said feast. Somebody said something about some food. That's all I know.
Okay, fair. Maybe Elaine was only focused on that, but there were other people that were talking.
That was it.
It's true. I remember some contestants were coming up to me being like, did he say jury? Did he say merge? And I was like, I don't know. I was listening, but I very much knew. And I was like, I can't say anything, so don't ask me. And this was so fun. But you guys, I don't know who does and doesn't know this, but Bergen finds at the feast on the front table. He tries to be pretty sneaky about it, although
old Bergen.
I don't think old Bergen is very sneaky.
I caught him. I seen him.
He gets an extra jury vote, which can be used not only if he's on the jury, but if he's in the final three, he would get a jury vote. Now, this is a great twist, really exciting stuff. But did you guys see, I know, Elaine, that you had eyes like a sniper. You saw him. Did Janaki or Megan, you see Bergen get this advantage?
I didn't. And I think I sat right next to him when we ate. So it didn't
Janaki,
really.
Didn't I tell you? Did I get to tell you?
Think so.
I was telling everybody. I know. I told Lance and who else? I think I told Elder. Like I was telling my people, So if he wasn't,
I definitely heard Elaine. So whoever you told, it was like telephone down the table. Because before I left the table, I heard that he had it, and I didn't know what it was, but it was like our whole side of the table knew that he had something.
Well, I wanted listen. I didn't get to play with him, so I wanted all y'all to know that he had it. And then once I got to know him, I was like, yo, I wish I hadn't done my boy like that, because I love me some old Burger.
Well, I think that everybody expected something there, because of course you have to if you know Survivor. And I would say that for me was the hardest part of that night, that merge feast, was that it happened in the pitch black. I mean, it was pitch black. And I've only played this once before, but when I made it to the merge, it was broad daylight. And you could see who was in the woods, and you could see the pizza boxes, and you could see everything. And this was like really clandestine the whole night. I mean, people would be in the woods, turn their flashlights off, and then people would like shining their flashlights in the woods to see who was back there. And it added this element to me that was really creepy. And I didn't expect that, because you know how it is when you all come together, everybody just goes and runs. But it was completely
camp was crazy. Yeah, camp was crazy. The nighttime thing, I was a little
if you ever
instigator.
do this again, when you do it again, the nighttime was really cool. That was cool.
Yeah. So I want to know more about this nighttime, because Alex and we said peace out. We're gonna go sleep in Alex's basement, have fun suffering in the woods. Janaki, for your perspective, what was the strategy like in this sort of evening purgatory? If you don't know if you're merged, you're just on the jury. How was it for you?
So that night with all the jury, my game plan was to talk to people I haven't talked to, because I knew I was solid with Elaine. I didn't need to spend all night laying next to Elaine and talking to her, because I knew we were tight.
Yeah.
And it's trying to get in those cracks. So I knew I was strong with Elizabeth, but I wasn't like strong with her like I was with Elaine. So actually, I spent a lot of my time on the tarp with Derek and Angie and Elizabeth for a while, and just trying to make those conversations with them a little bit.
And look what they did to you, Janaki. Derek and Elizabeth.
Yo, I rolled over on that tarp, and they were all talking about the boys on the other side, and they were like, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. And what did I start doing? I said, yo, y'all should go look for Idol. I started telling all of them, I was like, you should go look too. Why not? They're looking. And so I really think like Derek and them got up, didn't they? Didn't they get up and like go
we
like
did. We had to go to the bathroom, I think.
Yeah, I was instigating on the tarp. I wasn't going nowhere. I was
you were sitting there. You were grabbing all the blankets, then getting cozy while everybody else is looking for idols.
I was telling them, I was like, y'all should go look. You should go. Yeah, do that.
Well, and I slept in between Elder and Serena. Well, Elder, I knew I was tight. I knew I was solid with Elder. So I should have
moved somewhere
on
else.
a different tarp,
Yeah.
Because that could have changed everything.
Yeah, but them boys, they were all locked up.
What do you think all those boys would have done? Like all of them. If I would have just like picked up my backpack and like went and laid right down next to him, like right smack dab in the middle, and be like, "What boys?" Because
Megan,
like hot dogs.
I would have went with you.
Megan, I should have just went right in there with them.
Megan, we should have talked about this. We could have been like, "Yo, we love sausage parties. It's good," and we could have went over. I would have totally done that with you. That would have been so much fun.
I should have. I mean, that would have been a perfect thing for my personality on the show. It's just like, why did I stay on the? I should have just like hitched up my sweatpants and gone right over there.
Yeah, I should have done that too, but I was too busy instigating the one side that was being chill. The other side was being frantic. Cam and all them, they were all running in the woods. And so the chill people, I was telling them, I was like, yo, y'all should go look. So I was like, but I should have done what Megan, that's a great idea. We should have totally done
Cam
that.
says he was overheating, which, I don't get a lot. I've never heard from any Survivor player that they were too hot at night. So I think that's a first for you, Cam.
I do remember that, Cam, because I was actually really excited to connect with you like in the merge, and I looked over and there's all these people like huddled by the fire, and then Cam's like way in the back all by himself sleeping, and then everyone's starting to go to sleep, and then Cam wakes up. It's this whole like who's laying down, who's standing up, who's sitting where, who's in the woods. At one point I was talking to Derek in the woods, and people started shining flashlights all over us, and we're like, run! And like he went that way and I went this way, and like you never like knew when you were gonna get caught in the flashlight. And I think there's like this, and I probably started it with like my confessional, and it did really seem like there were like this fire was like dividing people, but in reality, I don't think it was that. I think people were just like coming and hunkering down, and you sleep by who you're comfortable by. But then people were like, should I lay down or should I get up? And then Elaine started stirring the pot, and then people started getting up, and then it's like, well, who's up? Who's sleeping? And then it's like paranoia of like,
the funny thing,
or are they talking?
Megan, the funny thing is like you had the log, and you had all these eyes like this over the log, and then you had on the other side, people were looking back on the other side. That was the funniest thing.
It was like you were trying to see, like you were counting, like who's gone from their side,
who's still over there, yeah.
And then there was also like the middle, though. Like I think there was like Elaine, you and I were like on the side, kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know. But,
we were silos.
Yeah. Well, I remember, I don't know if anybody remembers this because you guys weren't on the OG Green Tribe, but the Green Tribe was so territorial about their blankets and their pillows because the way that you guys like kept moving tribes, they were always like, should we bring them with us? Should we bring them with us? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to make you schlep your blankets, but they ended up at this merge or at this jury sort of combination, and then they were so mad when you guys like swapped to 3 tribes of 5. They were like, well, we don't have our blankets and pillows anymore. It was like James and Ryan. I was like, guys, this is gonna be very temporary. You will be back there in a second. Chill out about the pillows. Come on. They were very territorial about that.
I remember, so I was in between Elder and Serena, and I remember Serena was trying to like dead ass sleep, just sleep. And I'm thinking in my mind, because I was trying to have small talk with her because I hadn't talked much with her at all. I was on that one tribe with her for a split second, and I was thinking in my head, I was like, she's not very talkative. She's either really comfortable or, she just wasn't really talking game. Like it was just periodically like little whispers here and there. So I almost felt like I was being really annoying, but I kept trying to talk with her and make small talk because I remember James and Bergen were laying next to each other and they just kept talking and talk, like whispering. And it almost, I just remember like rolling my eyes and being like, to Serena, be like, oh my God, like they just need to shut up. Because it was every little thing that like people moved. It was like those two were just whispering with each other. And it was really hard to get in and talk with them because I knew they were a tight bond at that point. And so I just kind of kept to myself and just kind of tried to keep talking with Serena because at that point, Elder, I think, was sleeping. But
yeah. Hey, Megan, I got another idea. You know what we should have do? Did you ever steamroll when you was a kid?
Oh,
oh my gosh.
Dude,
I'm having like visions right now. I should have just gone and plopped right down and like steamroller.
We totally should have steamrolled all those guys over there.
I don't know, Elaine, I think the two of us were up that entire night. I mean, I remember like I would get up, put one on, you would get up and put one on, and you weren't feeling super well. And I know I just felt so bad because I was like, if you move again, Elaine is going to kill you. Because I was just like back and forth. I don't know what was wrong, but for some reason that weekend, I don't think I slept a second. But I will tell you, it seemed like everybody else did settle to sleep that night. I mean, it did seem like it, except for maybe the two of us.
Yeah, I had a hard time sleeping on the island anyway. These old bones just don't make it on the ground like it used to. So it's like, and I wasn't feeling good on top of that. I was miserable there for the longest time. I hung in there. Hey, listen, if my boy Aaron hadn't talked, I would have been out the day before. Because I felt like pure crap. And he's like, no, stick it out. I was like, you're right. I got to stick it out. And then when I got with those stupid people, I'm mad at them now for being on my tribe. Because I got with them and I was like, yo, there's like Bergen and Lance. Like they were so into it and so like, all of them, they were playing so hard, and I just felt terrible that I was going to take one of their spots when they wanted it so bad. And I'm like, yo, it's my time. I'm out of here. But yeah, I couldn't sleep, and we were up for a lot of hours. That's all I remember. A lot of hours.
It was brutal. And in the morning, you guys coming in and this tribe split, I mean, and also, Alex, I'll say this. This is the most effed up challenge to put after, like, an exhausting night. Like, to put the challenge that you need the most sort of mental fortitude to get through is messed up, and you guys are mean for doing that. It's the gross food eating challenge. Disgusting.
I mean, we could have been worse. When Brandon said, "Are you guys hungry?" on that night, he could have been, "Are you guys hungry?" We do a food challenge right away. So it could have been worse. It could have been worse.
Yeah. Well, I bowed out before I even got up there. So it was like, I got a weak stomach. My wife will tell you, like, I have a weak stomach. I cannot eat things I do not like. I have a very bad gag reflex. So like, if I think of something gross, I will basically almost make myself throw up. Like so there was no way I could have. Megan, my hat's off to you for chowing down like you did. Jakey, you done pretty good too, though, didn't you? Did you get through a couple of them?
No, I took like 2 bites of that.
Oh, you didn't even? I thought you got through 1 or 2 of them. Oh, yeah. Well, you like me then, because I just could not. I couldn't handle it.
No,
Megan,
Janiki's tribe was like the fascinating tribe because they all, like, Carter finished theirs and they all looked around and they're like, "You guys gonna finish? Oh, okay. Like, let's just all give it to him because we're not going to beat Carter." It was.
I actually have a question about that because, right from the beginning, we were told like you are eating in every round, and you like have to just keep going. And for me, that part was hard because when I've done eating things in the past, or often when you see it on Survivor, it's like you have one person from your team go and like take turns, and you have to eat one gross thing. And I wonder how many people like that impacted mentally because. Even if you finish the baby food, it's like, you have more you have to eat. So why eat the baby food if you're not going to make it through the next round? Like, I'm wondering like how much that impacted people's mental state. I'd be curious to know if that really impacted anyone's decision making.
Yeah, I'm curious to know like if it was like, okay, one person from your tribe roll up, if more people would have hung in to see like, okay, say Carter ate the baby food and then the next round it was something that somebody else was like, okay, well, maybe I could do this one. I think the challenge would have lasted a lot longer, and y'all would have probably been eating some.
Well, because it's going to get worse, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's going to get worse, so you have to like mentally tell yourself, like, oh, this round's not gross. I can do this.
Yeah, that's what.
Which is hard to do when the first round's gross.
Well, and one thing looking back, I think after seeing how this year went, like to be fully honest with you guys, I did not expect that many people to drop out when we were planning the challenge. But I think looking back, if we were to change anything, I think making Carter and Elder have to finish all of the rounds that all the other winners finish to be able to get that immunity necklace. They probably are watching this right now like, thank God they didn't make that rule because Carter would have to be just eating just for fun. But I feel like that would be one thing to like spice it up a little bit, because that was one area where it was like, okay, Carter literally just, I mean, and granted, some of you in here probably like just finishing baby food isn't that easy, but Carter only had to finish baby food, whereas Megan had to eat all of the baby food, horseradish, heart of palm, and some dog food, and then she didn't even get immunity. But Carter did.
Forgot about the heart of palm. Oh my god, that looked. I know everything was pretty nasty, but that for some reason looked like a messed up cheese stick to me, and I really didn't want. I was filming you guys, and I was just like, I had my camera so far away from me because I was like, I cannot be near any of this.
What is that? I would have known what it was, like heart of palm, but like my brain wasn't working. If someone would have said, Megan, you're eating a plant, it was just like I didn't expect it to be. Oh, it was nothing like when you look at it. It was nothing like you don't know
what it tastes like.
Okay, do you know what like water chestnuts taste like?
No.
Like, you know, or that was what they're called like in the Chinese food. So it was really like it was kind of like really, really, really hard Jello. Like because when you bite it, it would juice out like crazy. It would just like squirt out, but it was super hard. And it would break. It would break. I don't know enough.
Alex,
right?
did you
Megan,
did you taste test the food?
It's so disgusting.
I did not taste test any of the food. Well, actually, that's not true. I have taste tested baby food in the past, but I had not taste tested
when you was a baby.
Well, not that far back. Like maybe a few years ago, I tested it out. But
one of the funniest lines,
you know. People crack that baby food and like immediately you start hearing it. I mean, you just start hearing, and I wasn't any better. I was doing it too, but I mean, to be honest, a lot of my theatrics was completely like, that's my strategy. And in a challenge like that for sure, because I'm a really competitive person, and if people are watching me, I don't want to lose. And so if I'm quietly like, you know, then I will maybe bow out. But if I can get everyone to watch me, then if I have an audience, like, oh yeah, like,
she's the star.
Turn
it on.
The more I ham it up, the more I can eat it.
Also, I think
what flavor baby food? Wait, they want to know what flavor baby food. Mary, thanks for the happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah. Very happy birthday. When is your birthday, Elaine?
It's next week. It's the 13th.
Right.
Me and Mary go way back. She's a big fan of mine. We go way back, and she's good people. But they want to know. They want to know what flavor baby food. I didn't taste it, so I don't know.
Was it squash?
The green one was horrible. The green one was like spinach and broccoli or something really nasty.
Something Thanksgiving. Like I remember it being Thanksgiving because somebody said it in the. I think maybe the episode. Yeah, but they're like it tastes like
a Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, Alex, wait, for your future seasons, can I just go ahead and throw this out there? You do it just like Jeff does. You bring you a blender, get you a few ingredients. Yo,
this is coming from the person who wasn't even going to eat baby food by itself.
No, I'm not eating it. I'm not eating that.
Time out for a second. Fun fact though, Alex and I actually went head to head with a blended food eating challenge.
Oh, I know about this.
What was in it? What was in it?
Oh, I don't know. There was ketchup and something else.
I had like blue cheese. I just had chunks.
Who won?
Well, it was blended for us. I'll tell you this. I knew in that moment, like when we were planning the event, I was like, no offense, Janaki, but I was like, food eating is probably not going to be Janaki's after competing with her in that challenge. Yeah. That wouldn't have been mine either.
No.
The worst part too is like, I will say like the worst part is the aftermath. Like when you're done eating, like it doesn't leave you. Like it is like, I mean, it's hours after. I mean, I'm walking back and I'm still barfing like on the trail on the way back. Like, it's still with you. And that's the worst part is that like not only are you still sick, but you lost. So that's just that's horrible. That's a horrible feeling. But
it can't be as worse of a feeling as Maggie, our volunteer who is running one of the cameras, when Lance decides to take a bite of the baby food, and you can barely see it in the episode because the angle's focused on Serena, but he just spits it. I mean, it goes like all over her shoulder. I will tell you this: she was sitting there, like the spit went on her, and she was just like locked in. She's like, "I'm not moving. I'll get the rest of this."
She's getting the shot.
Yeah, she got it.
Anything.
Well, I mean, the facial expressions though, like this season, like I mean, the characters, like you go from like Cam to Serena to Lance to like, I mean, all the way down Elizabeth. like the reactions down the line were priceless. I mean, Elder's like, yeah, I mean, everybody had such
Dude,
a
Elder was shaking.
great
Elder was
reaction.
shaking.
Yeah,
He-
well, I was
he
gonna
was
say
shaking.
you guys made him finish, which I have to say, Alex. I mean, like, yeah, maybe if Carter and Ryan had to do the rest of like the dog food and the heart of palm, that would have been gross. But what I appreciated about this is that you were like, no, you got to finish it. If somebody drops out, like, you need to finish. And I remember Elder was just like looking at me like, am I done yet? And I was like, no, you have to keep going. Oh my gosh. Well,
and that's actually something that is interesting too, because like that changes the game. Like Angie, I mean, they didn't show it necessarily, but Angie took a good long time to finish that dog food.
Yes, she did.
I mean, honest to goodness, it was longer than they showed, and she had to finish it or no necklace.
It's dog food. Of course it took her a long time.
I'm like, she has to finish it. I mean, you can't come that far and not finish it. And I would have been just heartbroken if she, I mean, even though I needed her to lose, like I would have been heartbroken if she went that far and then couldn't finish it, because I know it was amazing that she was able to put that down.
Megan, don't knock yourself, because you did really well.
You did awesome, Megan.
You tried, and that's way more than I did. So it's like, pat yourself on the back. I'm gonna send you some dog treats. I should have sent them to you for Christmas.
So okay, so here's the question, like the strategy. Here's what I did wrong, because you know how you are. Like you guys, anybody who's played this game, all you do is think for like weeks and months. About what you did wrong. I decided I was gonna chew it, but then I couldn't chew it. Like it wouldn't break.
Should have just swallowed.
I'm gonna swallow it, but we couldn't drink water, and that's something they didn't even bring. Like we were not allowed to drink water.
Oh, yeah.
So like
brutal.
when I played last time, you could put a little food in and then like water it down. It would just get stuck. I couldn't swallow it or chew it, and my teeth just weren't like, I didn't have like sharp enough like dog teeth. So then that got in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, you need dog teeth. And that just got to my head. Like, I don't know. I just couldn't. It was, I don't know if Angie, I would be curious to know, Angie, if you were chewing or swallowing, because I couldn't figure out. I should have just picked one, because I kept going back and forth.
Angie says 90% sure there are actual bones in there, which is the worst thing I've seen in a long time.
Wait.
You are a rock star.
I know we're on this episode, but can we go back and talk about just because it's the three of us here? The challenge where we did the plate thing. Dude, we beast moded that. We beast moded that. Did. I just want to put that out there, because the three of us are on the screen. So it's like, we did so good in that challenge. We really did. We did awesome.
I will say, Megan, you are seriously the best cheerleader I've ever had in my life. Like, we could be losing by a ton or winning by a ton. Either way, you just are the biggest. You are the biggest. You are everyone's biggest cheerleader.
I mean it.
I just remember you kept saying, she's like, your communication is so good. You're doing so well. And it was like, yo, I love Megan. I love you. You're a rock star. But we killed that challenge.
We did.
Yeah, and you were a big motivator.
I don't know, for so long, Elaine, you had two for so long, and that's so hard.
Well, I mean, you know me tell you what the key was? It's because y'all allowed me to rotate my shoulders forward. Mm-hmm. And that makes you use a different muscle. And so then I would rotate them back and use my lats and then rotate them forward. As long as I could do that, I was going to be there for days. But the only way I could have done that is if I had two people on the other side of me that were just badass as I was. So it's like,
I know. And like, how about me, like 10 times taller than you? Like, we're like, that's all awkward.
No, I was like this. Like this. Megan's like, are you good? Are you good? I'm like, I'm good. And me and Jakey was at eye level. We was like, right here, eye level. But I just want to say, you two ladies killed that challenge. And I know I didn't win no food thing. Jakey didn't win none. Megan, you came up just short. But we rocked the shit out of that other one. So I had to bring that one up. We can move forward now. I just want to say
No. Well, actually, Angie is mentioning in the comments, because she and I both thought we were talking about the owl challenge, the knock the owl off. But that was another challenge that I remember watching you guys not give up. And Elaine, you were a huge motivator in that moment. And I was like, these guys kick so much ass. They're not going to let these guys take over. Everybody's like a foot taller, but who cares?
No, I was getting so frustrated because when we were already down because we had been beat. Lord, it seemed like 27 times we done lost and went to tribal. And we came into that, and it's like, really? Can't we just get like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, the running one. Like, forget about it. It was like a bunch of stallions against a bunch of little Shetland ponies. And here it was, you know what I mean? Like, there was no chance. And then they put the smoker of 30 years with the shortest legs on the outside track, carrying a bag, and I already got a bag around my gut. It's like, we ain't winning. And Elder's like, you're going to hold out longer than me. I said, bro, no, me not. No, me not. Anyway, so we came into all these challenges, and it's like, yo, what we got to do against what? So as we was going, like it seemed like our mind was already defeated when we walked up there because of what it was. And it was like David versus Goliath, right? And so like every time somebody went, we were playing timid. And I just kept saying, it was like, yo, just attack them, SOBs. Just run at them. They go. And when I got to go, that's what I did. And then I was just trying to pump everybody else up, beat on my chest, and get y'all to do the same. And it was working. You know what I mean? And we started like clicking a little bit. And like I said at Tribal, when we came out of that, even though we lost, like I felt so much better. And I was actually in a good mood, even though we lost. And it was like, it was huge.
Elaine, you won. You were the first one, Lane. You were the first one to win, and like it literally almost got back to you. Like
I know
every person had lost. Like you were the last one to go, and you won. And then like we all went right at one after another. It was a really cool. I mean, for my 3 young girls, it's like what an awesome life lesson. Like we were done.
Listen, in that moment, we needed to be aggressive, and everybody was playing a little passive, be it. And when I went, I just ran at them. And then the next person went, and they were a little more aggressive. You know, who all went? It was me, Janky. Megan,
I lost it for us a bit there.
Yeah, but I'm saying like,
like Angie being a badass. Yeah, that was fun.
Elizabeth,
Queen
Elizabeth,
Carter. Yeah,
and it's like, yo, like we started kind of, and I really thought we was coming back, like for sure. Mm-hmm. I was like, yo, we got this, because everybody was so pumped. But just to know that, like, we got back in the game. We may have lost, but we still got back in it. And so, like, there was hope. There was light at the end of the tunnel. And that's all I really wanted, is for us to know that it doesn't matter your size. It don't matter. It's like, yo, you can do anything you put your mind to. Now, I couldn't get my mind around the food thing, but I've done that.
Yeah, but, like, already tonight, Elaine, there's been, like, 3 examples of when, like, your wisdom and, like, your expertise, like, rallied the troops. Like, that was all you right there. I mean, it was such a cool moment, because it just shows what impact one person can make, because it was more than one time that you did that. And we just believed in you, because you're like, yeah, you got this. And we're like, okay, if Elaine says we can. And I can see Beth's chat there about coming at Berg and screaming. I remember just thinking to myself when I'm in line, like, you are not going to win unless you just like do something outside of the box. Like you have to do something.
Exactly.
And Elaine's like, come at them. So I'm like, I have to shock him. So and then unfortunately, like I was so excited about doing it, you guys. Like I had too long to like plan it. Like I was planning my shriek, like how crazy am I gonna go? And then like when I actually started doing it, I got so excited that I forgot that I had to play. Because I was like, oh my gosh, it's gonna be so cool. Like you're just gonna like rush him. And I was like in my head, I'm like, don't tell anyone. And I wanted to like whisper to you guys that I was gonna do it, but I was like, don't tell. It has to be shocking. And then I like shocked myself. Like,
dude, it doesn't matter. Anyway. We done so good. Yeah. And I just felt good walking away from that. And I'm glad that, and Janky, even though you think you lost it for us, you didn't. Like we come together, and that's really what it's about in the, you know, the end. That's what it's about anyway. So
and
I just thought it was cool.
And I don't want to spend obviously too much time on it, but like from the volunteer side of things, obviously we try to tell all the volunteers and the production members, like going into the weekend, if you have somebody you're rooting for, keep that to yourself. We don't need like bias showing. But I will tell you, going into that challenge after you guys had lost twice, there was nobody that I could think about on the volunteer side of things that was like wanting you guys to lose again.
I know.
So when you guys started losing, and then all of a sudden Elaine brings it back, and then Megan, and then everybody's getting the points, we're all sitting there like as subtly as possible, like, yes, keep going, keep going. And then but again, like as you said, even that moment in Tribal Council where you, Elaine, and like Elizabeth were talking about how it brought you together, it was a great moment, and I don't think it cool. Like totally showed how much like it impacted even like the volunteers watching.
Yeah, it was cool. And see, I had come such a long way from the very first challenge when I was throwing sandbags at the wrong color. Even though I had the color shirt on, I forgot what tribe I was on. And I cleared out the gray tribe's blocks. Do y'all remember that? They had one row.
Yep.
The first throw, I cleared them out. No, it was like the second because I threw over a little bit, got to warm up, whatever. But I told him, I was like, yo, this was the funny part. They was like, Elaine, what do you want to do? Well, I got carpal tunnel from working in the factory, and I could have never done the cellophane thing. I could have never done that. It would have killed my hands. And so I was like, yo, I played softball. And they're like, all right, bet, got this. So I was like, oh, I got this. Oh, got this. Yep. And all I was thinking of Aaron too, though, because, I like to throat punch him. You know what I mean? Like, I love Aaron to death, but I just want to throat punch the crap out of him. So I was like, yo, I'm going to get Aaron, blah, blah, blah. I forgot what damn tribe I was on. So I run out there. I throw 2 throws, and they're saying, Elaine, they're yelling at me. And I'm like, what? And they're like, lower. And I throw it lower. I knock the whole stack off except for the bottom row. And they're like, wrong color. I'm like, what? And in that moment, I was like, holy. And then after that, I was like, yo, I don't know if y'all seen it. I was struggling. I was like, I am never going to get. And then I threw the bag in the woods. Y'all didn't see that on the episode. I thought Aaron's bag, and see, I forgot what color tribe Aaron was on too. I grabbed Daniel's bag and throwed it in the woods, thinking it was Aaron's.
yeah.
I was sabotaging Aaron. It wasn't the tribe, it was just Aaron, but I didn't think about, hey, I'm doing it to the tribe too. And I actually done it to the wrong tribe. And so Daniel threw one of mine in the woods, and that's kind of where me and Daniel's little riff came from in the beginning. But anyway, I had come such a long way from the hot mess Hannah that I was on the very first challenge. So I'm glad that even though we lost that one, I'm glad I could lift people up to do a little bit. And it actually ended up being pretty cool.
I just want to say hi to Savannah in the chat as well, who said that, Megan, you were great in the owl challenge. And Derek says, I wish I could have played more with you icons. Well, Derek, if they had won the challenge, you better hope you used your idol, or you wouldn't have been playing them. Wouldn't have been playing with them at all. And this was so fun. And Angie says, I wish we could have seen more Elaine and Aaron moments. Well, Angie, you know how you could have seen that if you didn't vote out Aaron.
True story. Oh, shots fired.
Ooh.
No, so the thing with Aaron is when we were on the island, I hated that guy. I hated him because I'm a bust a can of biscuits, and he's like a big Greek goddess. You know what I mean? And it's like
personal trainer, gym owner.
He's so competitive, and so I know everything. And when it comes to this, you're gonna, and it's like, man, I hate this guy. And so it was my passion to get rid of him, which I did. Well, after the show, me and him got to talking. It's like, Aaron's actually really cool. He's actually a really great guy. And he's not the guy that I had made him out to be in my head, but it's because he throwed my name out there. So then I had a little animosity. So once I got to know him, and I was like, yo, this dude's cooler and crap. And I just love his face. So now I think of him like my brother. Well, my brother, every now and again, I love him to death, but I just want to punch him right in the throat. You know what I mean? And so Aaron could kill me at 99 things. Y'all ever watch Little Giants? Y'all ever seen that movie?
No.
Yeah,
it's a soccer movie.
No, it's a football movie where it's got the guy who shrunk the kids, Rick, what's his name?
Rick Moranis.
He's the coach, and he's going against his brother, who's the all collegiate, the star of whatever. And it's like a little misfit team of all these kids that nobody wanted on their team. And it's like, 99 times I lost, but this one time. And so that's how I am with Aaron. 99 times Aaron's going to win, but there's going to be one time that I'm going to take him down. And so I live for that one moment. It hasn't come yet. I live for that one moment to where I'm just like, yo, I beast mode that. You suck, brother. I'm the best. You suck.
Then that actually leads me to a question for you. And this kind of brings it back to this episode then, Elaine. And I know this is a little bit out of order of like the way we went to tribal council, but if Aaron is still in the game at the jury phase, so he makes it the top 15, do you think that you offer to get voted off? Like, do you want, my question is, do you want to stay in to potentially beat Aaron?
Oh, well, now see, that's the thing though. It's like I talk a lot of trash about Aaron, but push come to shove, I would have thrown myself for him too. You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, like that is my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you can talk smack. You know what I mean? I could throw his bag in the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like I could do those things, but I still think I ride with my people. That's who I always have been. That's who I'm always gonna be. On the island, Aaron was not my people, and I wanted to cut his throat every chance I got. But outside of that, once I got to know him, he's forever gonna be my people. You know what I mean? So I don't think I don't think I would have changed if he was there. I would have done everything to protect Aaron, probably.
Yeah.
Unless I heard through the grapevine he's trying to cut my throat, and then it might be a little different. But nah, like I was cool with Janky and Lance and Elder. I liked Elizabeth. You know, got
You
to
had
know
friends. You don't need him.
I mean, everybody I met, I was like, yo, they're so cool. Megan was amazing. Like Andrea, like it's like, yo, all these people are so cool. And what what done it for me is when Savannah went home. When Savannah went home and I seen how much it meant to her, that hurt my heart. And I felt horrible. And then I thought about it like just all the time after that. Every vote, every person that went home, I just kept thinking about it. And then the worse I felt, and the longer the game went on, and the more passionate people became, the harder it became for me. And so it was like, yep, this can't do this no more. I don't know how y'all do that. I don't know. I don't know how y'all do it.
It's really hard. And so I just want to recap for anybody who doesn't remember from the episode. So there's 3 new tribes. Janaki, you're on a tribe with Carter. I'm going to forget. I just watched this episode back like today. Carter, Cam, Derek, and Elizabeth. And Carter has immunity. Megan, you're on a tribe with James, Ryan, Jack, and Angie has immunity. And Elaine, you're on a tribe with Lance, Serena, Bergen, and Elder. And who has immunity? Elder has immunity. There we go. And what I'll say is that this is one of the hardest points in the game where you know you're robbing somebody of making the merge. And you have people in there who are such amazing. Everybody's playing for charity. I feel like, Elaine, that almost magnifies the feeling that you're feeling. Everybody's there because they have a cause they care about. They don't just want to win Survivor. They want to win money for charity. And it really like magnifies the feeling. And, you know, this commenter says Savannah was such a fun player. I couldn't agree more. And that's like, you know, that was such a hard tribal for me to watch. I feel like you guys are all amazing players and you bring so much entertainment. I want to ask Janaki first about the tribe that you're on, because you have some previous relationships, but also you're in a weird spot where you've been on tribes with all these people, and now it very well might be you. I want to know how you felt going into your new swap tribe, Janaki.
I felt a little bit comfortable, just because I had Elizabeth and Carter, who I originally had started with. I never had played with Cam, and I didn't play with Derek, but I knew I was excited to play with Derek, and I think he was excited to play with me, just because we had volunteered together and we had said like, oh, if we ever play together, like, I want to play with you. So just having that excitement of being actually like to have that come true, like I was super excited about that. I just remember doing one of my confessionals and just looking over and watching the 4 of them talking. And I know it did get showed, but I just remember like saying to Hunter, like,
damn,
like I need to go. Yeah.
Damn.
Sorry. But because I knew they were scheming something and I needed to try to jump into the conversations as much as I could. That was a tough tribal, and it was a tough tribal to watch because it makes me think of all these different things that I could have done different. Like, why did you do that? Why didn't you talk to this person? You know what I mean? So
yeah, that was a really hard spot. I mean, just did anybody else have thoughts on like watching Janaki fight? Because you guys don't get to see this until now. I mean, what a hard fought tribal council this was.
Yeah, I didn't want, when I walked in and Janky was gone, I was like, no. Yeah, because listen, it goes way back to the very beginning of the game when Janky showed up. She showed up 45 minutes late. Yeah, and I thought, please don't nobody vote her out. She's having a bad day. Like, don't Don't let her go home right now, because that's terrible to be late, be nervous that you late, and what people's gonna think. And I told myself, I was like, if she's on my tribe, I'm not voting her out. That's such a crappy way to start your day. No. So when we got on a tribe together, I was like, yes, I know she's not going home because I don't care. So from that moment on, and you didn't even know it, Janky, from that moment, you being late is what I was like, yo, I'm going to protect her. They ain't send her home. Nope. So when you left, I was like, yo, not Janky. Not my girl Janky. I was mad. That was
Serena's
terrible.
face was like, Serena's face said it all. Like, she was so shocked.
Yeah.
Like, I like couldn't even look at you guys. Like, when I was walking in, like, I couldn't even make eye contact with like you or Elder, because like you two are my closest allies. So like that was really hard, you know.
Yeah. That was tough.
Yeah, and had Kirk, one of our tribe handlers here, say it was fun trying to kick Elaine's ass in cornhole. Elaine in the garage had a lot of fun.
In the garage. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yes, and Savannah says, I'm so glad we got to talk it out later, Elaine. You are the people that make me excited about Survivor in general. Mm-hmm. Savannah, you're an icon. I'm so glad you're here talking to us.
Yeah, she's the dusk till dawn girl with me. There's a little club of us. And Savannah ran with the big dogs and kept up. That's all I'm going to say.
She's one of the leaders.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah. We had such a good time.
I also love that.
What do you think he would have done differently, Janaki? What do you think he would have done differently in that situation?
Yeah, great question.
What was the question?
What would you have done differently there? I mean, I was shocked at how close that was.
So the only thing I could really think of is I sent myself home because I was talking with Derek and Elizabeth, and the plan was to vote Cam. That was it. The plan was to vote him. But what happened was I had a conversation with Carter, who I started with on an original tribe. I also started with Elizabeth. But Carter had kind of made me feel comfortable that first tribe, being like, I want to work with you. Like, let's do this. We're solid. And the entire time we were together, we were on the same side of the votes. And Elizabeth, I was close with Elizabeth, but she was it was almost like she was unsure a little bit. I knew she'd be a little bit easier persuaded. So, like, that's why I went with Carter, because Carter seemed so sure. I think that if I didn't have that additional conversation with Carter, I would have voted for Cam. So,
yeah.
Well, but all I can really say is I sent myself home.
Well, I don't know. I will say this. I think just from watching it, and I've said this to you guys in the contestant chat, and I've said it to our volunteer team, that was hands down the best tribal council of the season. I would say it's hands down at the very least top 3 tribal council in Live to Give history. And Janaki, you might not like to hear this, but both times you went home in your Live to Give experience was in like 2 of the most iconic tribal councils we've ever had. So, I mean, maybe not the way you want them to be iconic, but the way you've been iconic has been pretty impressive. But Megan, I was also curious about how you felt watching back the Janaki tribal, because in that you had such a you had a connection in some sort of way to all 5 members on that tribe, because you were with Janaki and Elizabeth on the losing tribe. You were on the original tribe with Derek, and you guys formed a bond. And then you also played season 2 with Cam and Carter.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really interesting tribal for me to watch, because my heart, like, strings were pulled by all of them. And I was shocked at how, I mean, all of it, everything from Derek playing the idol, thinking about who he's going to play it for. I mean, so many things in that tribal could have gone differently. And when I saw that Elizabeth vote, I was like blown out of the water. I was like, what? Where is that coming from? And I just felt really, like, the whole time I thought, I really didn't know, like, watching the edit, who was going to go home. And then when I saw that Janaki went home, I had no idea that it was that close. I mean, if you look at that tribe, like, Janaki, like, going into the game, what I knew about Janaki is you had to be really, really, really careful of Janaki, because she's good. Carter is so good. Cam is so good. I mean, those 3 just already, like, the 3 of them together, that would have given me so much anxiety to be on that tribe. But it also would have been interesting had I been there, because it was a lot of people who didn't necessarily really know each other. And I felt like I really did have a history with all of them. Megan, just like a very short, like 2-hour history, I guess.
I feel like that me and you are the same person in here. I just felt that from the moment I seen your pretty face.
Well, that's an honor.
I was like, me and Megan are so similar on the inside. You are such a good person, and your sweetness just radiates. Like you're such good people. I wish I could have played with you longer, because that's the only reason why I rolled with my original, is because we weren't together. You know, it was never a knock against you.
Yeah. Nope.
You know what I mean? Like ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say you're good people.
Well, and that's what makes it so hard about this game is, I mean, like I really feel like Janaki, I really wanted to play with you, but I think we're like so like this game is so hard because you don't have a lot of time, and you have to try to like read people and figure people out, and what you think you know about people isn't always true either. And like a lot of people never really came up to me and said like, hey, do you want to play with me? And like I was so excited, for example, to like see Cam again and like to like meet Janaki and to like meet these people, but it was hard to know, like, do you want to play with me, or are you, you know, or do you not? And that adds a whole nother element to the game.
Yeah. So we have a lot of comments about this Janaki tribal, so I want to go through them because we have some amazing people here with us. Savannah says she was shocked that Elizabeth made a move, so that's some interesting jury perspective. Cam says, yeah, I almost truly voted for Elizabeth when Derek brought up the idol bag search. I didn't think Janaki truly was going to vote for her, and I didn't want to send myself home. Not a fun tribal to be a part of. So, Alex, you can have fun all you want, but they were not having fun. And editor Jorge says Janaki was really mad at Carter. She even said he wouldn't vote for Carter if he made the finals. I edited it out. So why so much trust in Carter? And this is actually, I think, a great question to you, Janaki. What was your trust level in Carter? Also, James is here to say hi, and we say hi right back.
James, love your face, buddy.
We'll talk to James in a second.
Love that guy.
Janaki, how did you feel about Carter in the moment?
I was pissed. I was pissed, and I wish I would have said more to Elizabeth to try to fight for it. But at that point, I was so drained and tired that I didn't really say much as like trying to fight for my spot to stay, because I knew I had some inkling that I was going to go home. Yeah. But I was so pissed at Carter. I think my end confessional, like I was swearing at him, and because he made it clear he wanted to work for me from that like original tribe, and being on the same votes all up to that point, like he completely just trusted. And like I said in my confessional, like I was legit lied to the entire day. So that is really draining. You know, when you're running back and forth and you're trying to be reassured, and you know, it's draining. And so I was just super pissed off at Carter, and we have talked since the episode, so we're okay. But I think I was just so mad just because that had happened. So
and I want to ask Derek, who's in the comments, what pushed you to play your idol? And Jorge has a question for Cam. Why voting Janaki? I think that really this was, on this tribe, a game of like, who are they actually going to vote for? And I think, Janaki, you kind of had a sense, but, you know, Cam, Derek, Elizabeth, they were all like, it could be me, it could be you, it could be I don't know. And it was really, really tense to watch this back. And Alex, you had said that that the arguing was much longer than we actually saw. The discussion amongst this group of five, it took like a good 20 minutes to get
I love Cam to death, but he can talk. And in this situation... In this situation, it helped him. This is the first time in Live to Give history that going in, Cam was going home. And Cam made them, like, he talked his way into Elizabeth deciding for herself to vote out Janaki. So it was impressive, but I was just going to say that he, from what I've talked to him and from what I've seen in confessionals, it seemed like he had trust in Derek and Elizabeth because they voted together at the first swap tribes. And so from that, I think, like, again, it's something that you guys have talked about in this season, like, sorry, Cam, people, when you have the trust of voting with each other once, you know for a fact that they have told you the truth or they haven't told you the truth or whatnot. So like he had that with them rather than he hadn't had that with Carter, and he hadn't had that with Janaki yet, is kind of, and I think he kind of explained it as well. But I have to say one thing though, and she does not get enough credit. One of my favorite parts of this episode is you kind of see like this growth from Elizabeth at the start of the morning of like her
Queen
at the camp
Elizabeth.
with like 15 people. She's like, I'm an introverted person. I focus on making small connections and then kind of coming out of my shell. And lucky for her, she gets onto a tribe of only 5 people when there's 15. And she finds herself into you guys had a weird tribe dynamic. It was like a love triangle. But she ended up making one of the biggest moves in Live to Give history. So we'll see if that ends up working out for her or not, if it ends up biting her in the butt.
Well, what I remember is when we first got into camp and we're actually making a fire, and Elizabeth, she's putting sticks on the fire, and she would literally take a stick and stand like 10 feet back and like throw it because she was too timid and too scared to put the stick on it. And I was like, girl, put that damn stick on there. Don't be afraid of it. You know what I mean? And then she told me after everything was over, she's like, I want you to know that when people went to sleep at night, I put sticks on that fire. And I was like, there you go. So yes, she really evolves as the season progresses. She really evolves until this moment, like from the person that she started out as until making that decision for herself and sending my girl Janaki home. But that was big on her. That was big.
Yeah, Derek says he wanted to guarantee a spot in the merge. Makes sense. Take the idle target off my back. And we talked about this a little bit before we started the game, but the incorrectly zipped bag, I don't know what you're on, Derek, but you're playing 4D chess when the rest of us are playing checkers. I cannot believe it. And
honestly, I knew that about Derek in the first 3 minutes. Like in the first 3 minutes, I knew he was the kind of kid that would like know his backpack was zippered wrong. Like my husband's like that. And so like when I literally when I met Derek, I'm like, oh my God, he is like baby Brian. Like in a lot of ways he is. And the way he would talk about the game and the things he would say, I was like, you are next level. If I can keep you by me, like you will teach me how to play this game. But then when he actually said that, I was like, yes, Dad! It was like one of the coolest moments for me. It was like this mom moment where I was like, he did not just figure that out by the zipper. That's so cool.
I could have had somebody else's bag with other people's clothes in it, and I still would have had it on my back like it was mine. I'm so oblivious to a lot of things. Even the color of my shirt don't tell me things. So it's like I don't pay attention like that. And this is why Elaine sucks at Survivor. There's so many of these. There's like a list I think I started 2 years ago as why I suck at Survivor, and that's another one. Derek, you got me on that one. I couldn't have done that.
We're going to get into why Elaine sucks at Survivor in a second. But Janaki, I just want to say that you are an amazing player and you were such a controlling force in a lot of your tribes. And it was really fun to watch you play. And you kicked absolute ass this season. And I'm so glad you were on the jury because you were ready. I knew that Janaki on the jury meant that they were not getting away with it. Like you were a grill master and you were going to be reading everybody like up and down. So Janaki, I hope you're proud of what you did this season because it was really great and you did an awesome job.
I'm so glad that you was on my tribe to begin with because I wanted you on my tribe.
Oh, I got 2 questions.
That was like sorry, I'm losing my voice.
So you go first.
But that was like the biggest thing I wanted was like to play with Elaine. Like
really?
Because like I was such a fangirl, like I was like, oh my gosh. And then here I get to land on the beginning tribe with you. I was like, yes.
And you didn't even know.
Tribe, and then
I already had your back. You didn't even know. I already had your back. When you walked in 45 minutes late, I was like, this is a girl after my own heart. She done showed up at her own time clock. You know what I mean?
What people don't know is I actually almost left. So I went to the wrong theater and I had waited for about 4 hours for someone to come pick me up.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
I almost left and went back to Rochester because I was like, this Live to Give is not happening. Like, but
yeah. I'm so glad you didn't leave, and I'm glad you walked in there 45 minutes late, and I'm glad we was on a tribe, and I thought you was great, and I'm really glad of the people I was with from the very beginning. Elder, he's a strange cat, but I love that guy. Like he's a different kind of fella, but not everybody's got to be the same for me to like you. You know what I mean? Like I like Elder, and then like who else was it? We had Elizabeth.
You had Lance. as well.
That was my boy. I was like, yo, Lance is my people. Elizabeth is like, yo, I'll help you. Like, come under my wing. I've done that to everybody on Survivor. Is like, I'll show you. Let's go. You know, that's so all these people I was put with, I just really liked everybody. And then the next tribe, I was like, oh, I really like this person. I met Megan and Andrew. I was like, oh, and then Savannah, I was like, yo, every time I turn around, I was meeting somebody else that I really liked. And then that's when I was like, yeah. So I'm glad I was on a tribe with you guys.
Megan, what's your question for Janaki?
So I was going to tell Janaki, like, going into the game, you were one of the people that I was most perplexed by. Like, she's so good, you have to play with her. Like, there's no way you can be on the other side because she will scheme you. But the whole time that I played with you, you were just are so calm and laid back. And you, like, wait for the action to come to you. And you don't always, like, start the conversation, but you take the conversation and you're in the conversation. And that's what makes you so good. And you never really like say like you're just this the whole, as far as I can tell, like the whole game, and nothing gets you in a flutter. So my question is that your game face, or is like, is that
dying
strategy?
inside?
Is that strategy? Is that like your character, or is that like just who you are? Because that makes you so good.
So the first time I played, I was just gung-ho excited to play, and I backstabbed. I lied. I didn't really care about the feelings of other people playing this game the first time I played. So my goal this season was, Alex hears this all the time, but I call it the Alex Wagner way, because when I played with Alex, he was very under the radar when we played, and that's how he won, Real Foot. So in real life, I'm a very like mellow person. I work in healthcare. I'm with patients all day. I just have a very caring, personality, and I always put other people first. But when it comes to Survivor, you kind of have to pick and choose who you want to be. And so this time around, I chose that I want to come in playing mellow because I knew people saw how I played the first time. And I needed to focus more on relationships, and that's what I did. So when I would talk to someone new, I started asking questions about their family, what they do for a living, where they're from, just really building that bond. And so that really helped me to get where I was. I think that if I would have just voted with Cam, this game would have been a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really proud of how I played. And I told Alex I do want to play one more time. So we'll see.
We have a question from Mary. Janaki, did you go to Notre Dame?
I did not go to no. I did not.
She's a huge Notre Dame fan. That in there.
Yeah, Big Ten. Big Ten.
Now I just want to go back to Mary. Also had another question. I want to hear about the gay rage, which is so funny because it looks like gay rage every time you type it out. But
it's how you pronounce it. It's enunciation.
There's not a lot of gay rage this season. There's a lot of gay love. There's everybody. It's so awesome this season. But the gay rage is where people were going to hang out and have some drinks and hang out, and sort of like the Ponderosa of Live to Give in a lot of ways. And it was a very fun time for a lot of people. Now, Elaine, on your tribe, you had some amazing people with you.
Yeah.
And you had Bergen, Lance, Elder, and Serena. I'm wondering, Elaine, when you decided that this was probably a good time for you to say, hey, look, I want you guys to continue this game without me.
Well, Oldberger can tell you when we was at the challenge, I was like, yo, y'all vote me out. And he's like, no, shut up. And I was like, nah. And I was already contemplating it. I was like, I can't do this again. I don't want to do it. So I was already thinking about it when we was at the challenge, and he just kept telling me to shut up. He's just shut up. And when we go back to camp and we sit down and we start talking, and like we were talking a little bit before, like when we started talking about like some of my fans and some of the things that I do for my fans and cameos and things, and a lot of the personal stories that I was sharing, it just, I don't know. It's like when you go through tragedies and you go through things in your life, it really gives you a perspective that you don't get when you don't, you know what I mean? And so like when I start thinking about that, it makes you see the bigger picture of things, right? So it's like I was there to play for charity, but also it's about those around me too, because I'm one of those that always give, and I always put others before me. And when I sit there and I see all these people, it's a piece of their dream to do what we were doing. And so it's like, so you add all those emotions on top of that, and then I put things in perspective, and it's like, I come to do what I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't feel good. I just didn't want him to go home. Old Burger had worked his behind off, and it's like, I don't want to take that from somebody. And this is why, another reason, Elaine sucks at Survivor. So it's like, I don't know, it was a lot.
I'm okay. I just am gonna have to say this. I hate when you say you suck at Survivor. This for the same reason that I hate when Megan says that she isn't good or she isn't going to win, because the both of you have equally big hearts. And I can tell you right now, if you two make it to the final tribal council, like there's a strong chance that nobody beats either of you two.
Oh, but I know that.
You don't suck. It's just a matter of
me and Megan may have a little doubts when she's like, "Oh, I don't know." But me, on the other hand, my cockiness comes in. I'm like, listen, if I get to the seats, you ain't winning. I'll just let you know. But I keep all those humble brags to myself for the most part. I talk trash in front of my friends or whatever, but I know that I'm not a horrible Survivor player. Like, I know it in my heart, but I'm not a strategic player. Nowhere close to being a strategic player. The things that y'all was doing, all y'all, James is a mastermind. Derek is a sneaky one. Elizabeth is like. Lance is super smart. Janky's good. Like, you have all these amazing people, Jack, that are just thinking like 50 steps, and I'm like right here. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I couldn't get to the end and I could win, because shit, you take me somewhere to the end, and if me and you sitting there, you're losing. You're going home a loser. But you know what I mean? But at the same time, like, it's different. And if you talk to like the super Survivor fans, the strategy part of it is the hugest part, right? It's like when people make it to the end of things, you want to talk about what they've done to get there, their resume, this, and this. If I went and sat there, like, I'm going to play on your heartstrings because that's what I got. You know, I'm not going to be like, well, I mastermind a janky blindside. That's, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm a different level. I'm a different kind. I'm in a field of my own. Me and Megan are chasing rainbows out in left field. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't make it any less beautiful.
Would you play again?
Play again. I don't know.
He's gonna say yes.
I don't know. It depends on a few things. One, if y'all don't give me some damn rice, I swear on everything.
That's Alex.
Yeah,
that's Alex's fault.
I'm telling you, it's like, yo, y'all don't even give us rice.
I will say this: we had a lot of feedback about needing food, so next season we might be a little bit.
I said to you, I was like, "Wait, they don't get anything," and you were like, "No," and I was like, "That's messed up. That's
you guys
not
got the
fair."
jury feast. You got the live to give buffet.
Okay, but I don't know.
Like,
I don't know if
like,
I would play.
Take a mic away from Elaine, but like, my kids are like 5 episodes behind. And when I came home from the theater, they were watching like 5 episodes behind, and I'm like, "Oh, I look good!" Like, like 5 episodes earlier. I mean, the amount of crying in this episode, I was so afraid that I was going to be crying. The amount of crying is just testament to, like, I had no idea like how hungry I was and how tired I was, and we looked horrid. Like, my bag's under my eyes, and like I'm trying to talk, and you don't see it unless you like watch like episode 3 and then watch episode 8 in the same night, right?
Yeah. Well, I keep the bags. They're part of this face now.
I will say, from season 3 to season around 5, the games were so different. I truly think that season 5 was way more difficult to play, and I don't know if it's because of the level of gameplay coming in. You know, you're bringing in a bunch of reality stars, you're bringing in a bunch of fans, and you're bringing people who've already played. You know, and there's just so many dynamics with that, but the level of playing was so difficult. I thought it was, I mean, Megan, I don't know from when you played, but I thought this season was really tough.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's worse than Survivor. It really is worse than Survivor. I know that I'm the only one sitting here that can give you a comparison, but it's horrible. It's rapid fire Survivor. And I did y'all see me walking into the challenge? There's nothing rapid about how I move. And so like I was like, yo, the speed at which this game is going is insane. Like we went to tribal every 15 minutes. I promise you. Is every 15. We walked into camp, stayed for 5 and left for 45. You know what I mean? Like it was ridiculous. Like it's crazy. It really is crazy.
I do have to give you a shout out though, Elaine, because when although you might not have like enjoyed this experience as much as Survivor because it was a little bit more rapid than your speed, I remember the moment I messaged you and was like, I'm gonna ask Elaine. It was before the season, I believe, even like your season of Survivor even aired, but I had known you were gonna be on, so I just messaged you. I was like, would you have any interest in doing this? And most of the time, like anybody that's played a reality show and that we've reached out to they've usually got busier schedules. They get a lot of requests. Elaine, literally that same night, is like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. What is the information for it? And I sent her some information. She's like, I'm in. And I think that just kind of shows to like your heart and wanting to give back and help out like different like charities and people in need.
You were nice to me, and I'm a sucker for nice people. So it's like you were cool to me. It was like I try to tell you, it's like I'm normal people. I'm not nothing special. There's nothing over the moon. You know what I mean? I'm normal, and I have never been to Minnesota. And so, yes, if you want to fly me to Minnesota and come hang out in the woods, I'm down. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with that. But I did say, I was like, listen, even though I say yes, if you don't remind me on a regular, I'm not gonna read nothing. I'm probably not gonna go through any. So if there's anything in particular you want me to know, you better point it out over and over. Because I don't.
Which we did have to do. We did definitely have to do that for you.
My attention span is terrible. I can't remember a whole lot. I think it's just laziness, honestly. And so I said, like, if you remind me and keep after me, even with the raising money, I like completely forgot. Like I was doing the live to give stuff, and I was like, yo, and you messaged me, you're like, Elaine, you have like, I don't remember. It was like, you got a day to, and I was like, oh, okay. I made a phone call. I was like, yo, all right, I'm done. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, but Elaine, here's the thing you don't realize. Like I said the top secret, but I said no many, many times. Like I'm not playing this game again. Like I can't do it. I am not playing again. And then they were like, but Elaine, they're like, do you know who's coming? It's
really?
Elaine.
So
like,
Alex, you name drop.
Elaine.
You
and
name drop.
Like, ooh. But then I thought, what if I go and I don't get to talk to Elaine? Like, what if I'm voted out so
really?
soon?
I try to make it a point. Like when we were at that meet and greet thing, I try to make it a point to talk to everybody. That's like Hannah, was it Hannah? Is that what her name was? She's the only person I really didn't get to talk to, and I felt bad because she went home really quick, and I felt bad because I didn't get to talk to her. So I try to make it a point to go around and, you know what I mean, to talk to people or whatever. But I appreciate that I was that deciding factor there.
Yeah, so like all the money that like I earned, right? I mean, you were like the impetus for me. You inspired me to get there. You were the only. No, you were the only.
But that's the thing, though, is like I think from the start, Elaine, like literally from the second I reached out to you, you showed you have a big heart, and then that brings us to this final episode for you, where you continue to show your big heart. And so I just want to thank you for bringing that to our event, because it would not be the same without you. Just like Megan, it wouldn't be the same if you didn't bring your heart here. Now, and I think that's the final tribal we were at for this episode.
Yeah. Well, yes, very quickly, I just want to say that I loved Bergen in this episode. I have to give a shout out to Bergen, because Bergen crying about raising $16,000 and not letting go home from the bridge really got me like right in the gut. And I'm so glad that this tribe could sort of find this weird inner harmony, even if it means losing Elaine. Megan, first of all, you get back to camp and you are just on a world tour of complimenting everybody, which I love. You're like destined to go home, and all you can do is tell people how amazing they are. I loved it. I was laughing my ass off. But Megan, when you got back, what was your strategy going forward to try and maybe save yourself?
Well, so interesting fact. When we got back, James, I don't know if you're out there right now, but James says, I'm sure it was James, we have kind of a long time before we have to go to tribal. Why don't we just like sit around and talk for a while and not go scramble? And like in retrospect now, when I look back on that, I'm like, oh, you sneaky kid. I mean, he knew right then, like, okay, he knew right then, like, we can't talk too long, right? Okay, so looking back on that, that was a huge mistake I made. I knew that if I didn't win the dog food challenge that I was in big trouble from the beginning. But then when we decided to split off, it's funny how like things happen the way they happen, because finally James said, okay, we have 20 minutes left till tribal, let's break. And James, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I remember it. But and then we all kind of went into twos, and my first person was Angie. And the first thing Angie said to me was, we have to get James. And I was so exhausted. I mean, I had just been crying and crying and crying. And that's when I'm at my worst, right? So like, I just heard her say, let's get James. And I was like, yep, let's get James. And nowhere in my mind did I think, oh, James hasn't been to tribal.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. Like, not even for a second. Not even for a second. I knew that James was close with Ryan, and I assumed he was close with Jack. I assumed they had like this reality game thing, which probably they really didn't have. I didn't know that Angie was close with Ryan. I had no idea about that. I didn't know that Ryan knew James had an idol. So all of those things were shocking to me. So in my mind, when Angie said, let's go get James, I didn't think he had an idol, and I didn't even think about going for Jack. And then also I think that when I left, I thought, well, maybe I can go for Jack. And then when I saw James, so James and I have played together before. My mom and dad like call him Harry Potter. They love him because he had these like little Harry Potter glasses when I played with him. And like my mom and dad, like, I mean, the way they talk about him, and I've always felt that way about him. And I was just even excited to see him again. And I hadn't talked to him really like until that moment. So when I saw him, it was just like super emotional for me. And like one of the first things he said to me was, I know you're going to vote for me and I'm going to vote for you, which immediately got me to say, yep. Where like, if I would have been like in my, like, you know, I could have been like, no, I'm not voting for you. I mean, what the heck? Like you go into the game thinking of all the things you're going to lie about, all the things you're going to do when you're in trouble. And it was like, he knew right how to like pull on my dang heart because I didn't want to lie to him of all the people in the world. And like, I probably could have lied to anyone else. And when he said, I'm going to vote for you, I was like, you are? But like, I knew he was. And so it was just like, he did all the right things, like maybe not even intentionally. But it just manipulated my heartstrings in a way that I couldn't play. And going into the game, I had told my family that I was going to, when I was going out, I was going to invent this boomerang idol. And I was going to tell everybody I had an idol and that I could like, whatever you brew, I can throw back to you. And I was going to be like, I have this idol and I can vote anyone out I want. And I also had a plan. I never told anyone this, but I was going to go to Derek because we found the idol together. I was going to go to Derek and like try to make this big scene of like whispering to Derek and being like, Derek, give me the idol. Give me the idol. And like pretending like he gave it to me. And then I was going to be like, dude, I got the idol. Like, even though Derek like wouldn't give me the idol, he was going to like give me the idol. And I was going to like do it in front of everyone. And it was my plan. And then I just started crying. And then Angie ate the dog food. And then I was like, I just was like a puddle. And I honestly, like, I don't regret it, but like something happened in my brain where like I stopped playing. Like I didn't stop playing. I did not stop playing, but
you accepted your fate.
I didn't see. I couldn't.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. That was part of it, but I don't want to make excuses for myself because part of it was I was majorly played. Like I was like, my game was like, I was done when I started to cry. So
this is absolutely the most emotionally, I think, difficult point in the game. I think, you know, later as we get closer to the end, it gets really emotionally difficult, but like right in this moment, in these small tribes of 5, it's so brutal. James has a really great point. If he says to you, Megan, I'm in this with you, I want to work with you, I have an idol, can you, Angie, and I vote Jack? Would you have done that?
Okay, so that's gonna make me cry, James. Here's the thing. From the second that I got to the social to the second I left the game, like literally the entire time, I will say that Angie and Derek asked to play with me, period. I felt super close with Elaine. I felt like Bergen had my back a little bit. but like no one ever said like, hey, Megan, do you want to play? Like ever. So I just thought my only strategy was like, I thought my only strategy was like going for the underdogs because I knew that like none of the big gamers would play. So like it's so interesting to me when I hear people like James say like nobody wanted to play with me, because I felt the same way. Like I just felt like, why won't somebody say like, Megan, do you want a blindside? Like nobody ever like approached me in that way. And I was gun shy at approaching people. Like I just didn't feel like why didn't I go cozy up to James on the sleeping bag and be like, hey bud, what's up? Like I don't know. I was so intimidated, and that's why I didn't talk, which is so interesting because I think James was a perceived threat, so he didn't talk. So it's just so interesting how like you wait for people to come to you, and James and my God, I would have done anything to stay in the game. I mean, I was bawling to Ryan. I was bawling to everyone, like, just keep me in the game. So yeah, I would have done anything. Yeah.
So Alex, you've seen all this footage. My question to you is, because I think James makes an interesting point with this. Ryan was someone, and you know, you always see it in every episode. You ask Ryan who he's working with. He always says James and then like a bunch of other people. So Ryan's always the James, but he didn't seem open to Jack. Now I agree with this choice, James. I don't think Ryan would vote Jack, and I'm wondering, Alex, how you feel about the whole thing, especially because you got to see all the clips.
Yeah, and it's obviously, this is me just saying it from seeing all the clips. Obviously, I don't know what was actually going on in like your guys' heads. So this is just like trying to piece together what was said. I think if James would have approached Megan and Megan brought it up to Angie of they could still all stay in if they vote for Jack, I think Jack would have been voted out at this tribal council. The only issue is, and it wasn't necessarily shown extremely well in the episode, Megan was in the middle of a confessional. Angie walks by and Megan's like, stop, I need to have this conversation. So then it turns into not a confessional, but a conversation. And she's like, I'm in trouble, aren't I? And Angie's like, no, we got to vote for James. And I think Angie, in a sense, and she probably is going to hate me for saying this, Angie got her own number one ally sent home.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly was like, it's me. Like, and I was going to go into that conversation being like, we have to get Jack or Ryan. Like, I was too afraid to get James, but Angie was like, we're going for James. So I just thought, okay, like, I'm going to listen to Angie because Angie's smarter than me. And I honestly, like, which I really, like, I wasn't ready to push. I was emotional, and I knew, I mean, at that point, yeah, isn't that interesting talking about it in retrospect? But, I just, at that point, I'm like, my only option is James. And why didn't I be like, oh, he has an idol? I don't know. James, you're so good.
Janaki, I want to know from your perspective, James or Jack, which do you think is the better move in this instance? Because, you know, let's not forget, James won Live to Give and the Amazing Race. Like, two and very strategic ways. So, like, not a bad pitch to vote out one of the most strategic players. But Janaki, I wonder what you would have done.
I probably would have gone with Jack. And I say that because, once again, I played with Jack and we could have played off a blind side, and I went against him and voted him out. And so that, again, pieces apart where I needed to build that relationship. I actually approached Jack at one of the jury, when we were like the jury feast, we went back to the campsite for the night. I tried to approach Jack to talk to him, and he actually walked away from me. So... And I don't think he meant to do that on purpose, but the moral story is like he still walked away from that conversation. So, and I really wanted to play with James. I really wish I would have approached him at that jury campsite because, one, James would have been a bigger threat than I am in the game, and he would have been a great shield. But I also feel like I would have been able to trust James. And if I can confide in James and really just be like, I really want to play this game, I want to go far, I feel like he's such a good person. I feel like he would have taken me far. And I truly believe that, you know, watching back these episodes, he's a great player. He is such a great player, but he's very genuine and he does really care. And I really, truly think that if I had that opportunity with James, I feel like he would have definitely not drugged me along, but he would have done it in a good way, you know, because I love the game so much and wanted to play. So I would have easily have picked James over Jack.
Well, and honestly, and sorry not to interrupt the James comment, but after talking to Angie after the season, I know she had said that like she only had a threat perspective of James going in, because she volunteered in season 2. So she saw him from the volunteer side of things and saw how well he plays the game. And I've told James this before. No matter what game he plays, he's going to make it far. That's just James. He's good at these games. He's going to do well. And so I think Angie was able to kind of see that. And so she was terrified. In the same way that Megan is like wanting to get all the big threats, Angie was wanting to do the same, but she was so blinded, I think, by the fact that she had that safety around her neck and wanting to get out a threat, that it potentially, again, ended up hurting her. Sorry, Angie, if you're not so happy with my...
Angie's going to kick your ass once we log off this.
Yeah, she probably will.
Call.
She will.
Well, that's what's so hard too, is like, that was really hard moment for me, because just like Elaine said, I mean, that's the heart of this game. I mean, you get to know people in this way. I'm sure it's the same with the real Survivor, but at that point, like, I hadn't even played with Ryan for 1 minute, like not even 1 minute. And I talked to him for 5 minutes and I'm like, I can't vote him out. Literally in 5 minutes, I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to vote this kid out. And, you know, I felt the same way about Jack, and I still had a lot of guilt from voting him out the first time. That was really hard for me. When everyone, after he got voted out, everyone's like, oh my gosh, his dad drove all the way here. And like, it was like this big story. You know, everybody has something they're playing for. And that's when it gets really hard. I mean, it's just like, how hard do you want to play, and like what really matters? And I think the truth is, like, when I look at all those people, like, you know, Angie, everybody on my tribe and everybody in the whole game, you just rise above the game. You have to, because this is a really different thing.
Shout out to Jack's dad, by the way. I feel like Ben is cool as hell, and he was awesome that whole week. I love that. I was like, oh yeah, that's Jack's dad, and I was like, what? What's going on here? Such a nice dude. And much love to you, James. You sneaky little devil, making it through another round with that idol. Or I guess now you played it, and now the merge is coming and you don't have it anymore. I have to say that you guys all are incredible players, and Live to Give, and you can blame Alex for this, just drains you guys. And I had seen you on day 1, and I knew how like bright and full of energy you all were, and then you're all just messes on day 2, day 3, because it's so hard. So I hope you're all very proud of how you played, and you had fun, because it was a wonderful experience to get to meet all of you and watch play.
I think I'm allergic to Minnesota, because when I got off the damn plane, I was sick. From the moment I got off the plane, I was sick. You can ask Aaron. He actually walked to the gas station and got me Pepto-Bismol, and I was pounding it like I was chugging beers. I was sick from the moment I got there. I don't know it. Minnesota and my stomach don't get along. It was bad.
It's Alex Wagner's fault. He didn't feed your rice.
Yeah, that's what it was. But I think I don't know what it was. I just, from the moment I stepped off the plane, I just didn't feel good. And then as the days went on, I just started feeling worse and worse and worse. And I was a wreck from the beginning, is my point to all that. It's like, oh, when you come in, it's like, yeah, I put on a happy face, but I felt like shit walking in, and I chugged the last of my Pepto when I got out of the cab. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, hold my beer, you know? And so I felt bad from the rip, but yeah, by the end of it, it was worse.
I just want to ask, because our viewers are going to hear about this a lot more towards the end of the season. Elaine and Janaki, can you explain the Janaki Corporation to us with no spoilers, because the Janaki Corporation is now on the jury. You're really growing and, you know, founding your roots in Minnesota. What is the Janaki Corporation?
I have a bad memory. I'm going to talk into the camera for this. I can't remember nothing. I couldn't remember anybody's names. I didn't know how to spell. I could not. Janiki's name is the craziest name I ever heard in my damn life. And every time somebody said it, I didn't understand what they were saying. And I just kept thinking janky, like, you know, a piece of junk, janky. It's janky. And so every time when somebody would say Janaki, I was thinking janky. And so I would just, after the 17,000th time, I just started calling her Janky. And everybody thought it was funny, and she didn't mind it. So it was like, I just called her Janky. And then when we got on the jury, we decided that we was just going to make up a whole t-shirt corporation. And as people come into the jury, they become part of the crew, and it just kind of grew and blew up, and it became something really fun. And
it started too with a secret scene that was never aired and probably should never be aired. But there was a moment when it was like
telling a story,
and Andrea and Megan was there.
Yeah.
And I just remember we were sharing stories of
the medical field,
inappropriate stories.
Yes.
But I just remember talking about it and looking at Megan. I just remember looking at Megan and thinking, this lady is so innocent and so nice. And here we are just talking so inappropriate. I felt so bad.
And I tried so hard to be like, yeah, me too.
The story was a great story. But when you out there for a couple days and you ain't been eating and people start talking and stuff is funny, it's 50 times 1,000 funnier. And so when the story was told and we all was kind of like, it just became a beast of its own. There was hand motions and gestures. There was it was a whole nother level. It was so funny.
So here's hilarious. A fun thing. So it's called Janky Corporation, Jankee Corporation. Yeah. We make T-shirts with inappropriate sayings on it.
Yes.
Here, I kid you not, within like a month or two, here in Rochester, a janky gear store opened up. Seriously. And I remember taking a picture of it.
Oh my God, that's great.
And being like, guys, look, it's real. Like,
we made it.
Here we go.
We made it. You should have just pulled front and got you a tea and be like, oh, that's awesome. That's hilarious.
Okay.
I do have a question for Megan.
Like, Elaine, you with your memory. So my kids were like coming home from school on the bus, and 2 of them went to the premiere in the movie theater, or the show in the movie theater. And they're like, you got to come home. Like, we got to watch this last episode, like this I Am a Dog episode. Like, we have to go watch it. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're so proud of me. Like, they want to watch me. And they rewound, and I'm not even being sarcastic, 45 times. The part where you're like, burger, 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 burger. And they kept rewinding. I'm like, they're watching it because they're of Elaine. And they kept like watching you. And then Libby's like, yeah, well, I have her autograph on my buff. So that's worth a lot of money someday. Seriously, Elaine. Like, they were like, and they kept watching. They thought that scene with you, and they showed all their friends at school of you being like, burger.
Burger. That's another one. I kept saying, what's his name? And they're like,
because you didn't believe that Bergen was his real name.
And I was like, that's not, what's his first name? And they're like, it's Bergen. I was like, no, bullshit. Well, tell me, is his name Joe? And then I couldn't get I felt like y'all was playing me and I couldn't get a straight answer. So then I was like, his name's Burger. It's Burger. And I start calling him Old Burger. And then it just kind of like with Janky, it just kind of, you know what I mean? I think by the end of it, I'm pretty sure I was naming a few people. You got Chap Ass, Hot Pants. I couldn't remember nobody.
Season 6.
Yeah, Chap.
Well, and honestly, that's such like a big nod to the editing team, because it's just like, you look at this episode and you look at Bergen crying and you look at Elizabeth and her emotional moments and you look at Elaine, and I mean, you just look, not only that, but the funny moments and the facial expressions of Serena and Lance, and Derek with the zippers, and then the burger.
We didn't even talk about Blow-Rena, Slay Rena, Blow-Rena, Calcerina happens this episode.
Right, like the editing. I mean, this is good TV. Like, I just can't believe like how the crying and the laughing and the I'm just really proud of that editing team, because that's amazing what they can pull out of that, and it just makes me smile to like watch my people go. Like, it's super cool to see people in their glory, because it's so cool to like bring out everybody's story. They brought out so many little things, like Angie's tattoo, and like there's so many like little moments where it's like that could be a whole episode in itself.
Well, that's the thing, though, and it's the same thing that like Jeff says on the island all the time. It's like Survivor is a microcosm of society, right? Well, it's the same thing in this small version in Live to Give. It's the same exact thing. It's like you go through life and you're on highs, and then an instant, in a split second, you're on a low, and that's life, right? And so in this fast pace little Live to Give thing, we was like this. We was on a roller coaster. So we'd be up, we'd be down, we'd be crying, we'd be laughing. The next minute, you sad as all get out. But it's exactly how life is, just at a faster pace. And I thought it was cool that you could see somebody crying, like Burger just bawling his eyes out, and I just look over and we just start laughing. You know what I mean? It's like, even though it's a short time, you build some really great bonds. And to me, that's the thing that life is made out of, right? Your whole life is these small moments that you take with you forever. And that's what I said in my little comment after the thing was like, yo, I'm gonna remember y'all. I will always forever be a member of the Janky Corporation, regardless. And after the thing was over, I gave everybody my number. It's like, y'all holler anytime. I'm just normal people, and I like making friends and hanging out with good people. So it was fun, man. But yeah, it's a lot like life. Ups and downs of it is awesome.
I do have a question for Megan though.
Go ahead.
I just want to know if Megan would ever play again, but
Ooh.
play with Brian.
Nope. Blood versus water?
No.
Well, here's the thing. I can't play with Brian because we are complete opposites. And maybe that would be good. I don't know. But
that's me and my wife. She would get me voted out.
And maybe
I couldn't play with her either.
Like, maybe like, and that's true. Like maybe, you speak to like Brian is when he played Survivor, like I feel like he really had a character because he is probably like more of a softie and like more emotional and more like dramatic than me, to be honest. And so it was interesting to watch him play because he's also like 15,000 times more competitive than me. So like he just had to win.
Right.
And I think he was like, I'm going to win. Like he went into that, like he wins everything he does, honestly. So that makes it hard for me to play with him because I don't care about that. I mean, I'm competitive, but my heart comes first.
That's me, Megan. See, told you.
Alex, I have two questions for you. One, I just want you to shout out our editing team because Megan shouted them out earlier, but those guys are working so hard to put these episodes out there. And then two, I wanted to ask you because we do have people who are doing Edgic for the season, and I think that you guys accomplished something really amazing with the editing team. Not a lot of people know about what Edgic sort of means, but the way that this episode is edited, every single person not only had a confessional, but a strategic confessional that really showcased them as a player. And I think that's something that not even a real Survivor can do all the time. So I just want to talk to you, Alex, about that for just a second.
Yeah, well, so again, as you said, I want to like shout out the editors first because what people might not know is like with Survivor, they probably have all their episodes pretty much edited before they release their first one. We are still editing as we go, and we're keeping up with a very crazy schedule. We have a lot of people editing. We have Jorge, who's editing our tribal councils. He's been doing a phenomenal job with that. We've had Dom and Hunter both editing Camp Life stuff, and Lucas has helped in with that. And he's also done previously on stuff. He's kind of getting his feet in. He's been doing an awesome job. Luke does our challenges. I mean, I would go on a whole thing about Luke, but you saw the last challenge and how hilarious he made it for everybody. So there's that. And I also need to give a shout out to somebody who probably wouldn't want a shout out, but I got to give one out to Naomi, who has also done a couple of our previously on segments to help out as needed. She is like, so what I guess what I'm saying is like, we have a team that works their butts off even after the event to make this event what it is. So it's awesome. And then to what Naomi also said, Edgic, like we have one person that does our Edgic every single episode they go through, they watch, they kind of explain what they've done. And this is the first time I think it lived to give, well, maybe not history because at the like towards the finale it gets easier, but like with this many people, we had 15 people in the cast and every single person was not under the radar or invisible. So it was nice to see that. And I think it was cool this episode to just see everybody in their own kind of like spotlight at a different point in the episode, whether that was in a positive, negative, strategic, emotional, whatever it may be. Light. So it was a really fun episode to watch. This is honestly, it'll go down, and for me so far, it is my favorite episode of Live to Give of all time. So couldn't have done that without this amazing cast.
It was a pretty good episode. Y'all did a really good job. I thought it was awesome. It really was. It was a good one.
I have to say that like with 15 people, everybody is a contender right now. Everybody has played amazing games, and I think it speaks to the power of everybody who was in the game at this point. I remember at this point in the game, I was like, I don't know who the hell is going to win this thing, but I almost hope it was every single one of you guys because you guys were all so awesome. So we're almost at an hour and 45 minutes, which is nuts. So I'll let you guys go. I mean, Megan.
I'm a gabber. I'm sorry. I talk and talk.
I'm having a time of my life, and I know that our audience is too. Do you guys have a funny memory that you want to share before we log off for the night about everything that's happened so far in the game?
I mean,
time? Or even maybe something from the garage, whatever you want to talk about.
Now, the garage is for
just
those
be careful. Just be careful of the names you mentioned.
Yes.
I just want a warning.
Well, I do want to say that the garage is where the Dragon Slayer lives. For those of you that don't know, he's alive and well and living in Minnesota, I'm pretty sure. So. It's his identical twin, I promise you. This guy, he is every bit as cool. He's so much fun to hang out with. And we hung out in the garage until dawn when we wasn't supposed to. Of course, this one, yours truly, this old biscuit, tainted the jury, snuck them to the garage, got them to pass the Dragon Slayer's test, and then we played cornhole till dawn. And it was probably one of the best nights I've had in a long time. It was so much fun. And there's so many memories. And at the end of all this, everybody can actually tell all the stories. But it was some really, really good times. It was, like it was so much fun. I wish I could say, but I can't spoil nothing. But it was just, the garage was a happening place. We'll just say that. It was a good time.
Yes. What about you, Janaki?
I just remember it was dawn. I think I had gone there once, but I remember it was dawn. It was time to get up. And here comes Elaine walking up the hill. And I look at her and I go, like, have you gotten to bed at all?
Nope.
She's like, no. She's like, we got to go travel.
In 30 minutes, I took a power nap. I was like, I'm going to take a power nap. I don't think I slept. I tried to lay down for 30 minutes. And Savannah, she could tell you all about it. It was one of the best nights ever. We had such a good time. The funny thing is like there were so many people that were reluctant. They were so reluctant on going. I would sneak to the garage, and I would sneak back into jury camp, and I'd be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "You guys want to come to the garage?" And they're like, we're not. Brandon said we're not allowed. I was like, come on. And so one by one, I would talk people into it and get them in the garage. And then once they got in there and got a little, got comfortable, it was just on. And it was such a good time, man. We had a blast.
Megan, how about you?
So now I'm like regretting, like Janaki, when you asked me, like, would you ever play with Brian? Because now I'm like, ooh. I answered that the one way, right? Like, because I just want to be like, no, I'm not doing that. And I made up every excuse for why I'm not doing that. And it's because there's like so many things that like keep you from doing something scary like this. But then when I listen to like things about like the garage and all of it, it's like, why would you ever say no to something like this? And it's the charity is like one thing, but like, I just think that like my best memory is just like how it's just so interesting how like now like the bond and the connection you feel with the people you played with, and they're so different from you. Like you never would make that bond otherwise, but like the life, I can look at each person and be like, wow, the life lessons. And that's like, I know it's supposed to be like funny memories, but it's like to me it's like this is just priceless, like what you can take from something like this. And whether or not I list my funny memories or my happy memories or my sad memories, like there's this like it was absolutely like one of the best things I ever decided to do again, even though I was so scared. And I never thought I could learn more than I learned the first time. And it's like I learned more in the first 5 minutes. I became a better person, right? So of course, I mean, like, yeah, it's awesome. What an awesome organization, and the people behind the scenes. I don't know how you guys pull this off. Honestly.
No, that's
like honestly the twists and turns and
that's exactly what I was saying too. Is at the end when I was like, "Yo, the things that you guys are doing is amazing." Like, yeah, we go and we have a good time. People strategize and people get blindsided. We get
drunk at Alex's basement at the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's some crazy dance off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just insane things. Yeah, the dance off. I remember. We remember the dance off. But anyway, like there's all these crazy things that happen, but when you get down to the root of it, you had a couple people that had an idea, right? Just a small idea. They had a dream of, we could take this and turn this into something, and look where you're at. Like, what was it? It was like $72,000 for charity, and y'all started with nothing, right? You started from nothing.
Yeah,
That's like a
background,
huge.
but I can't make it go away. Yeah,
No, but that's a huge compliment. It's you took 1 grain of sand, right? You placed it in that pearl. You placed it in the oyster and it became a pearl, basically, right? Like that's freaking, like, who does that? Y'all do that. That's who does that. You know what I mean? Like that's amazing. That's cool shit. I ain't never done nothing like that. That's cool.
Well, we appreciate that, but I also got to say, like, we cannot take that much credit because the cast is what raised that $72,000. You guys were awesome this year, and I've just got to say, like, I know this question wasn't necessarily for me, Naomi, and it's not necessarily a funny memory either, but it's something I'd love to end on. Is I just think that, like, this cast, they stepped it up this year. We've talked, like, season 4, if anybody watched, was super strategic, and this season might not have been like as many like suspenseful strategic moves, but we had a lot of heartfelt moments, and it was like every single time that somebody was eliminated, I was sitting there like my heart was breaking for them. I mean, I cried at some of your guys' exit confessionals more than you did on your own. So it was just one of those moments. Like for me, it was fun being like, okay, this has grown. Like as Elaine said, it's grown, but it hasn't, like, from our end, it hasn't grown in the sense of like the money's great that it's grown, but at the end of the day, like the being able to make an impact not only on people in need, but also like the people that are playing this event and then the people that are volunteering and helping. It's awesome to see the growth, and I'm glad that you guys were all part of it, because it would not have been the same if it wasn't for the 3 of you this year, or Naomi for you coming out and helping as well. I'm pointing the wrong way in the camera. There we go. That way. So thank you.
Well, listen,
not murdering me.
I'd never been to Minnesota. It was well worth the trip. I met some awesome people, but you Minnesota people are nuts. Y'all crazy for what y'all do for a good time. Like, no, it was cool, yo. Like, I don't know if I would play again, but I told you I'd be down to come back and do a little hosting, you know how they brought Cochran out on a boat? You can bring me out in a wagon or something and let me go. You know
only like a red tiny wagon where somebody has to like drag.
No, you can put Elaine on the golf cart. You know the golf carts you're zipping around in all the time?
Yeah, put me on the cart, let me stroll up and be like, yo, you want to go for a ride? Let's go to lunch, you know? Like, I might be down to do some things like that. And then, I mean, I know you guys, the event place changes from time to time. So I don't know if you guys would be back at the Garage again, but I could always just host events in the Garage for the people that get sent home or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well,
like,
Elaine, you're welcome at any season you want to come to. You are more than welcome to be there. We'd love to have you. You're part of the Live to Give family now. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, we'll have to see what the old lady says, because I'm married now, and she
bring
is
the old
mouse.
lady. Bring the old lady with. She can see what the Garage.
You can't call her the old lady, Alex.
Sorry. The moderately aged woman.
Listen, she hates it when I say that. It's a redneck thing. It's like my old lady, whatever.
Yeah.
She hates it, but she will curse you all to pieces. You call her one. So
hopefully she's not watching right now.
She's in bed. Hopefully she don't watch this later. Nah, but she was gonna come to Minnesota because y'all got one of the biggest malls, because she loves to do some shopping. But in the end of it, she was like, this is something that you really like doing. I like doing stuff like I do the Give the Kids the World and things like that. I like giving back like that. And so she's like, you just go and do your thing. And which is super cool. She's always so supportive of my Survivor things I tend to do from time to time. I mean, who else lets you leave the country for 2 months and come back and everything's taken care of and business is handled? You know what I mean? Like, she's awesome.
Elaine, before we go, you should show us some Survivor memorabilia.
Oh, if I can. All right. She want me to take it down off the wall?
No, hang back up.
Maybe you don't want to show it. Maybe I should
No.
have said that.
I mean, I could take the camera.
There.
Let's see. Well, like, let me.
Oh, there.
All right. So this was made by Todd Herzog, actually.
Yeah, Todd's Pop Shop.
Yeah, the
That's
Pop
you.
Shop. Yeah, that's a little Elaine for you.
Can you buy that?
Yeah, you can buy it.
Buy that?
He custom makes Funko Pops. It's amazing.
Yeah, he custom makes them, and then these are from Perplexor Puzzles. They sent me a few of those. That's my water canteen and stuff from the actual.
That's the real one.
Yeah, that's the real one. This is what I drank out of.
Ugh.
It's all janky now. Look. And then somebody had painted that or made that.
Wow.
Or drew it or whatever. My wife put it on a canvas. And then back on the back wall, which, can you see that? Lord, somebody get the camera. There it is. That's all my tree mail. The tree mails that I took home, and then those are my buffs and stuff like that. And then
that's tree mails in the frames. Those are tree mails?
Yeah, those are tree mails. And then
you have like 6 of them.
Yeah, and then in the middle are 2 of my buffs. And then hold on. And then
my gosh, that's
this
so
is
cool.
They still dirty. Smells like fire, yo.
You didn't wash it?
No, I didn't wash them. No, I didn't wash them. Why would you wash them? Look at this.
Authentic.
Who
Elaine,
washes
I'm so
this
hyper
stuff?
right now. I can't stop talking. I don't want to leave you, so I think I'm gonna go and watch your whole season before I go to bed tonight.
See,
I don't know if she actually could hear you without those headphones.
Can't hear you without it.
Megan said she's going to watch her whole season tonight. She's so hyper and just so excited to talk about Survivor.
Oh yeah,
guys, this is so much fun. Elaine, thank you for being here. Janaki and Megan.
Oh wait, can I show you one thing? Can I show you one thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm not going to stop until we're ready to go.
Hold on.
Elaine's at work.
Let me scooch back in here. Okay, so my wife made me this little book, right? That's when I went to open casting. Can you see that? Shit.
We can see it. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Let me make it look.
And then this is my that was my number at open casting, which I thought was awesome. There's a picture standing in line at open casting. And then this is the questions that they wanted to ask you. And then this is money from Fiji. My wife made this for me. Wait, let's see if she's got my but she made me like a little book of all my Survivor stuff. I just thought it was cool, but that right there.
It is very cool. She's a keeper.
Yeah. I put a ring on it. Don't get no ideas, buddy.
That's not what I was saying.
But I thought that was awesome. And then see, my tree mail was in this book. And she took it. Here, I'll get one and bring it over.
Megan, do you remember when we were at the Mall of America and we ran into you, me, Alex, and Nick ran into you? And that was one of my favorite moments. We just ran into you right after this whole traumatic
That was
weekend.
right after, too, wasn't it? Yeah. That was right after.
This is one of them.
Gosh, Elaine.
Can you read it to us, Elaine?
My light. This freaking light. Hold on.
This just read it to us.
Oh my gosh. What if I actually got to touch one of those real tree mails?
See it?
You better have a fast swimmer. You better have a group that's tight. You better win immunity today, so one of them goes away tonight.
Yeah. And then this is the little shadow box that's got 2 of my buffs in it. And then the blue one, of course. But there's a few other ones up there. Some were from Lyro, because you could see the emblem of the, I guess it's a damn lizard, I don't know. And then some of them are from Volkai. I don't know that I thought that was so cool that they done that for me. So
it's awesome.
Oh, and then
what's that?
Don't ask. She made it.
Oh, the can of biscuit.
Yeah, but look, it goes on this. So there's all these little things that my wife does.
Is that a straw? You drink
makes
straw?
it look like a sundae. That's so funny.
No, and then look, I bought this. This is actually bought in Fiji when I'm getting ready to get on the plane.
I love that.
I bought it for the youngin'. It says Cannibal Coconut Doll, Fiji Islands.
That would make a good immunity idol.
Oh, do you need me to donate this to you, Alex?
You've kept enough immunity idols, haven't you, Elaine?
Yeah. Nah, but like some of this stuff, like the tree mail stuff, like all that. I wore a bracelet from tree mail beads for a year and something until it finally broke, and so did Dean. Like and when you're out there, like you don't think about it, but then to be able to look back, like after and have it, it's like, oh, I remember that, and it brings back all these memories. And I don't know, my wife, she's the best. She made my own little room, my little survivor room, so I thought it was cool. Sorry about the camera thing, I can't work that shit. That shit was stupid.
It was perfect.
I gotta pop off.
Yeah, Janaki, not feeling well. Guys, we're headed out. Guys, thank you for being here so much. Remember to follow Live to Give. Check out the new episode. Episode is going to be a big one. It's the merge, so tune in. Alex, Janaki, Megan, and Elaine, thank you guys for being here. We will see your amazing jury questions in a couple weeks, but for now, let's all go get some sleep, and maybe we'll sleep better than you guys did on that jury night. Thank you, everybody, for watching and commenting. You guys are amazing. Thank you for your support. And remember, you can donate right now to Live to Give. You guys are always running sort of charitable events, so good on you. Guys, thank you for being here. Say goodbye to the folks at home. Thank you for watching.